Hi there everybody, I'm Tim Rickman, your origami wizard. And today I'm going to show you part 2 of my modular Rhombicosidodecahedron model. Part 1 was the tutorial for my origami 3D stars, which is also the tutorial for my pentagon units of this model. In this video I'm going to show you how to fold the square units which connect together all of the pentagons to make this. Let's start folding. For this tutorial I'll be using printer paper. There's an easy way to make a square from a rectangle. Bring your shorter edge to your longer edge, and don't fold through the center of the paper, but tack the ends of your diagonals. Make sure you're lining up your edges. And where these creases meet the edge, you want to connect them with another crease. And now take a knife and cut away the excess paper. And you'll have a square. Here's a look at the crease pattern for this model. It's based on a 32 by 32 grid, but we're going to start with a 16 by 16 grid. If you don't know how to fold this, take a look at my video for my 3D stars. Our first step is to fold some of these rows of squares in half. This is our center. From the center we're going to move up one row into this second row here and fold this in half. So you want to take and mountain fold there and below it as well. And now match those two edges. Lay on a flat surface. And precisely match those two edges. And this will fold that row of squares in half. Sharpen by folding the paper back and making a firm crease. Now our second row of squares has been folded in half. Next, move up 1, 2, 3 rows to this row here from our center. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth row, and repeat that process. Mountain fold the top and bottom edges of that row of squares and bring those two mountain folded edges carefully together, matching them precisely. Once you've started your crease, fold the paper back and make a firm crease. Move up 1, 2 more rows, the second to last before our edge. You're going to fold that, mountain fold the top and bottom edges of that row of squares. If you happen to accidentally fold the wrong row of squares, that's okay. As long as by the time we're done making all these folds, you have them all in the right place. You can make small mistakes like this and the model will still turn out fine. Now we want to repeat this by turning the model 90 degrees to the right or left and filling in just as we have this direction and this direction until all 4 sides of the model have been filled in with these 3 creases. Take another look at our crease pattern. These are the creases that we've just folded. Now we need to crease these diagonal creases that form a diamond around our center square here. You want to find where the creases you've just made closest to the center cross. And we're going to make a diagonal fold through there. And the way we do this is by turning those folds into mountain folds and then bringing this edge to this edge.
on this side. And likewise on the other side, bring this edge to this edge. And you don't want to crease all the way down the paper. Get the corner well, and then fold all the way back to the opposite side of this square made by those creases we were just talking about. Unfold. Now we have that diagonal crease that runs from this line through the center here to this point. And turn the paper 90 degrees and repeat until all four corners have that diagonal crease. And unfold. Next, we need to make a diagonal crease that runs from the corner of this center square to the corner of the paper. We could fold all the way across, but it will make an unnecessary crease in the middle, and we want to make sure that that looks as nice as possible for our finished model. If it's easier for you, you can do it that way, but this is the way the model was designed. Go ahead and find that corner. And find this corner, and your diagonal is going to travel through the corners of a lot of squares that have been made by your intersecting lines. Be very careful when you come to this corner. Make sure you're as precise as possible. Now we have diagonal line, and again you want to repeat this on the other three corners of the paper. Great. We just have one more step for the pre-folding. We're going to bring the corners of our paper to the center, making a diagonal crease that runs from here to here. Take your time and line up all of the creases that you've made previously to help you make sure that this is precise as possible. And flatten all the way across. And all of our pre-creasing has been finished. Now we'll construct the model. I've emphasized some of the creases we'll be using as we turn this into a 3D model now. You'll recognize some of the creases we've just made. We'll also be using this crease here that was made when we folded our paper into a 16 by 16 grid. So find again where those first lines that you've made at the beginning of this tutorial come closest to the center, where those cross, forming this inside circle here, which is 3/16 wide. And you want to make those mountain folds using this diagonal fold to first bring the paper under like this, and now use these creases to reverse fold that diagonal fold, and hinge the paper back like this. And repeat that on all four corners. And bring all of this together. It'll look like this now. Now hold all of this together, and you'll notice here that we have these diagonal lines. You're going to reach in and push here, flattening out the top. Make sure that all of your creases are being used, and go around the model flatten out the top, just like this. Next, you want to look underneath. Take here and here and flatten out this portion here. Hold the model like this and push down using these inside diagonal creases here to flatten out this side, and repeat that all the way around the model. And now your model should lie flat. Press everything down, make sure everything is aligned. It should look like this now. Alright, our next step is to flip the model over, and you're going to use those diagonal creases we made. Pull apart here and you'll see that diagonal crease. You want to start by folding that down, where you're going to make a mountain fold continuation of where this diagonal is going to meet this line here. Have it run the opposite direction and do the same thing on the other side. Open up the model here, flatten down this diagonal here, invert this fold here, and your model's going to look something like this now. Make sure to get all the way into that crease and use this diagonal to sharpen the way this looks now. Okay, so you have something like this. Now you're going to push inside here. That square and fold a valley fold through the center of it so that it all collapses down like this, and then fold the flap down. And then flatten all these down. Now you could probably use this base to make many different models. It's got 9 even flaps. I can imagine all sorts of things you could make with this. But this is what we're going to turn it into. And there's just a few finishing steps. We're going to fold these diagonals underneath like this. Take this flap and fold along an existing crease. Fold this behind, locking it in place. This last flap, you don't want to pull too much, otherwise it's going to undo your first flap. Just roll it behind like that. Now your model will look like this. Make sure everything is lined like this. Now choose two sides. They'll look different. These two ends will look different than these two ends. So fold down along an existing crease here. Not this crease, but the first crease from the corner. Fold down here. And now we're going to fold from this corner to the center right here. So like this. You're going to fold through that flap you just made. Fold from this corner to the center, the top there. Fold through all layers of the paper. Curl it over and really try to be precise here. And do the same thing on the other side after you've unfolded there. Find that center in the corner of this cross here. Now, unfold everything and look inside this pocket here. You're going to see this flap inside. You want to push that to the top and then sink this fold that you've just made. You're going to sink all of this material at the top, this paper at the top. Push gently, reverse folding the crease that you just made, making sure that this paper is pushed to the top there. I like to use an eraser on a pencil or something that won't damage the paper, but is a little pointier than my finger to help make this crease. And go ahead and fold all the way down along this edge. You'll see that that brought some of the paper out here, and then the top is not sitted down. Before we move that, we're going to look inside one more time, and you'll see how this portion of the paper is pointed up. We're just going to reach underneath it and grab it and push it down along that existing crease like this. Okay. Now it should look smooth when you look on the inside. It's just a continuous piece of paper here. Next, we're going to sink this bit of paper back underneath this flap on the right. It's a little tricky. Grab this paper on the opposite side and lift it up and push all of that other paper underneath like this. And then the top here, you're going to push down, fold down so that this edge runs along the center again, and then use this diagonal here as a valley fold to press everything down again. Now everything should look like this. Now push this flap back along that diagonal and flatten, and then sink this flap. So open up here and push this paper underneath. Now refold this diagonal fold from this corner to this corner, folding through all our pieces of paper, our layers of paper, and you'll notice that this edge will now run approximately across this edge here, making a triangle. Later on, we're going to use this flap to sink into one of these pockets, and it'll make a triangle-based pyramid in our rhombicosidodecahedrons. So you want to do the same thing on the opposite side. We've just completed this. Repeat that step here on this side here, but leave these two alone. Just do this one and this one. Alright, now I've just finished up both sides, and now we're going to do these sides here. Now what we're going to do is turn the model over and then kind of push this back for a moment, and we're going to reaffirm this valley fold by pushing back along this edge here, just to crease down through all these new layers of paper that we have. And we're going to do that along all of these flaps. When we get to the flaps that we haven't folded yet, I'm going to make a couple of additional folds. So you don't want to push back too far. Just push the paper back enough to where you can get in here and make a very fine crease for these. And now we've pushed back here, and we're going to make a mountain fold on that next crease, like this, and then a mountain fold on that crease after that, and then a valley fold on this crease that is at the corners here. And then fold this under. And this is going to make a little ridge that is going to be what actually connects these. I'm going to sink this into that pocket. Just like that. Crease everything down firmly like this, and repeat that on the opposite side. And open up the model here, push back, making a valley fold. This next crease, fold through all the layers of paper, make a mountain fold, a mountain fold, and then a valley fold along existing creases. And once you have those folded, take your point and sink it in the pocket underneath the model, and then press down. Flatten everything down again, and now we've completed our model. Looks just like our example here. Let me show you briefly what I mean when I say that this ridge is going to fit into, you'll see there's a space for it to go on these pieces here. And this is basically how you construct this model. I'm going to make another tutorial for how to fit all these pieces together to make the rhombicosidodecahedron. You're going to actually need to open these back up to fit all of these all the way around it. But if you're ambitious, you could probably figure out how to place all of those elements. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for part 3, where I'm going to show you how to construct the rhombicosidodecahedron. Oh, you'll also need 30 of these pieces and 12 of these. And again, the tutorial for this can be found in my tutorial for my 3D sticky note stars. Thanks everybody for watching. See you again next time.